Hello and welcome to Wilson's World Afcon Daily, episode 8, as we look back on day 7 of the action and ahead to the games on the 29th of December. Day 7 was a day on which Mozambique and Sudan both achieved notable victories and there were significant performances from some of the big guns as well. Diallo scored his second goal in 2 games as Ivory Coast drew with Cameroon in Group F. Jelaine Conan's own goal levelling the scores. And in the end, I think both teams are probably happy enough with a point that should see them both go through. Ivory Coast, though, will be worried about their lack of firepower, just 2 goals in 2 games, both from Diallo. Cameroon, I think, probably quite satisfied with the coherence of their performance. They are very hard to break down and they look very, very dangerous on the break. But the big story in Group F was Mozambique, who achieved at last their first victory in the finals in their 6th tournament as they beat a really disappointing Gabon 3-2. Gabon, we knew, were an ageing side, but they'd done really well in World Cup qualifying. They only dropped points in 2 games there, but they did look old today. They went behind to Faisal Bangle's header from a corner. Gianni Katama's penalty put them 2-0 up. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang then pulled one back, a classic bit of opportunism, seizing on a rebound just before half-time. That gave Gabon hope, but Gianni Katama got forward from right back to head in a third for Mozambique. And although Alex Mokatu Masunda did pull one back, it finished 3-2 to Mozambique, and 3 points ought to be enough to see them through. Kenya went out with 3 points in 2019, but it hasn't happened since. So Ivory Coast on 4 points, Cameroon on 4 points, Mozambique on 3, Gabon on none, and in real danger of going out in the group stage. In Group E, Algeria became the 3rd team to win their 2nd game out of 2 as Riyad Mahrez's penalty gave them a 1-0 win over Burkina Faso. And Sudan won their first game since 2012, just their 2nd game since they won the tournament in 1970, as Saul Koukou own goal, giving them a 1-0 win over Equatorial Guinea. So that group, Algeria on 6 points, Burkina Faso and Sudan on 3, and Equatorial Guinea on 0 and in real danger of going out. So on the 29th, we move into the final round of games in Groups A and B. Comoros versus Mali at 7 p.m. in Casablanca is a winner goes through shootout. A draw might be enough for Mali, who look much better against Morocco than they had done against Zambia. Tactically, I think they're better when the onus is on them not to attack, when they can sit deep and play in a low block. But I think they have a sort of imposter syndrome. They struggle a little bit psychologically against bigger sides. They don't seem quite to have a belief they can beat the Giants. But Comoros is obviously a side they should beat, but it will be a tough nut to crack. Comoros have looked very organised offensively so far in this tournament. Morocco, who were booed off after drawing against Mali at the end of their 19-game winning run, they're already through, but they probably could do with a win or at least a good performance against Zambia to steady nerves, to reassure the crowd that they are potential champions. They're certainly the favourites. Zambia would probably go through with a draw. Their forward line, the pace of Fashion Sakala and Patson Daka, could possibly be a threat to Morocco on the break. They've drawn both games so far. Group B, we've got the big Southern African derby as Zimbabwe face South Africa. South Africa on 3 points, Zimbabwe on 1 at the moment, so draw probably would be good enough for South Africa. Zimbabwe have battled incredibly hard, very unfortunate to lose to Egypt. They got the draw last time out against Angola, so they've put themselves in a position where they can qualify, which I guess is all they could ask for. South Africa, I think, licking their wounds after failing to break down 10-man Egypt in the second half in their last game. Egypt have already qualified, far from convincing so far. They needed that very late Mohamed Salah winner to see off Zimbabwe before their 1-0 win with 10 men against South Africa. And they face Angola, who need to draw, even have a chance of going through, but realistically, they probably need to win. Thanks very much for listening. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you next time.